This is New England IPA, celebrating Dieu du Ciel, Brasserie Dieu du Ciel, a local microbrewery here in Montreal. So this is New England IPA 20 to celebrate their 20th year. Really cool spot if ever you're in Montreal and you're into beer. Great microbrewery to go and have a nice little time at. They have a patio. Kind of see what this is like. This is a glass from another brewery called Farnham, which is not in Montreal, but it is a Quebec brew. So yeah, anyway, I've had this before. It came out last week. It's delicious. Wanted to jump on, share some records with you guys, as usual. I've failed miserably at not buying records. They just seem to keep finding me. Cheers. I'd say I'm not looking, but always surprised at what I can find here locally. So I'm gonna start with the biggest grail. Not one that I necessarily was high on the want list because I didn't know how good it was. It's one that I discovered because a store here, actually, they posted it for sale online, but I had added it to my want list a while ago when I saw them post it, because I guess I had sampled it and it sounded good. Then I saw they had dropped the price, and then I decided after a few months that I would go in and make them an offer when I listened more online and heard how incredible of a record it is. So, I mean, it wasn't a cheap record, but it was way cheaper than what it goes for normally online. And this is Georges-Edouard Nouel, Chodo. And this is on the label Le Chant du Monde. That's what the label looks like. So this is just, he's from France, first of all, and he plays Rhodes and regular, acoustic piano. So yeah, just a piano, Fender piano. Then you have Louis Xavier on bass. I don't know any of these other musicians, but this whole thing, there's 3 tracks on the first side. They're all kind of mostly longer tracks, 5, 8, 9 minutes. This is, you can hear the whole thing online, and this is stunning. Just, it's a pretty open, spacious sounding, but it's the bass, the drums, and the piano are unbelievable. There is another musician, so it's not really a trio record, but it sounds like you're listening to a trio record. Well, not in the sense that it's there's also someone playing conga on here, but honestly, do yourself a favor. If you don't know this record, go check it out. And it was just reissued last year, so easily accessible to find the reissue. The reissue does look different. It has a blue cover with his face on it. Okay, I've been having a run of Coltrane and Blue Note, which is nice. Show you this one quickly first. Found this yesterday, actually. So this is 3 for Shep by Marion Brown on Impulse. This is a 1972 pressing of this record, which is originally from, I think, 67 or 68. So yeah, I've never heard this. I put it on the want list, so I'm looking forward to checking this out. Who else plays on here? I don't even know. I'm assuming, no, not Shep. Norris Jones, Bobby Cap, Dave Burrell, Gratian Moncure, Beaver Harris, and Stanley Cowell. Later, okay, I have more records by Coltrane than anyone else in my collection, and I seem to keep finding them. So this is My Favorite Things. This is a Canadian mono pressing original that looks basically brand new. Like, I don't know if you can see that, you're not going to read it, but it's just impeccable. The record's in great shape. There is a bit of noise on one side. I'm gonna try to get it cleaned at one of the stores here that has cleaner, but it looks great. and sounds a lot better than the copy. I had a copy of this already, but it's in okay shape, still an enjoyable listen, but this is definitely an upgrade, and especially on the cover, which looks brand new, and I love those early 60 glossy covers. Another one, not my favorite Coltrane record, but when I saw it, I couldn't really leave it. John Coltrane and Johnny Hartman. This is original Canadian mono pressing. So much, I would never fork out the money for what a copy in this shape goes for normally, like a US copy. So really happy to find this one, which is basically in perfect shape. And this is a really quiet record with the vocalist Johnny Hartman. By no means, like I said, the most exciting Coltrane record. It's a different side of Coltrane, but still an interesting piece of his catalog. This I had in no way, shape, or form in any record. I have it on CD, I think, still, but giant steps. So happy to get this. This is a 70s, mid-70s pressing. Once again, you know, an original of this, don't ever see. I think once I saw an early 60s pressing in New York, but it was beat up. I think this and my favorite things I bought on CD were some of the first jazz records, CDs, albums that I bought, maybe at the same time, I don't remember. I know those two, Blues and Roots, were the probably kind of blue that I used to listen to regularly when I was first getting into jazz. So I think I must have gone and bought like a few CDs at once. So yeah, Giant Steps. It's a classic. There was a little audio show in town and the little record fair. It was the same. I knew most of the sellers. One actually I didn't know, who was from Toronto, that recognized me from YouTube. So always, not the first time, but always funny when someone in public at first can't always place you, but then realizes that they watch your videos. So always cool when people say something and we get to connect. So we spoke for a while. I found this. My Point of View, Herbie Hancock. Didn't have this in any form, had never heard this record. Really cool lineup, Donald Byrd, Gratian Moncure. I don't know, I didn't look up what other copies, but there's a typo on this. I don't know if that's intentional, but Hank Mobley, Grant Green, Chuck Israels, and Anthony Williams, Tony Williams. This is an early, I think, is this his second record? I'm not sure in the catalog, but yeah. Looking forward to digging more into this one. Didn't know, I have a bunch of Herbie Hancock on record and on CD, but this is one I didn't know anything about. It's a second pressing on Liberty. Found this really cheap, Beaver Harris 360 Degrees Experience. This is also with Gratian Moncure, Ken McIntyre, Cameron Brown, Ron Burden. This is on Red Record out of Italy. The track that really stood out for me here is Boogie on Dawn, the first track on side 1, which is 12 minutes. Really dope. I don't remember if anything on side 2 stuck out. Not bad, but that's the track that really moved me. So this is a VC recommendation. I think from Instagram. I've seen people post it. Some good cheap heat. And found this sealed actually at the fair from the same seller as the Herbie. So this is From Russia with Jazz, Prince Igor's Tsar. You have Dave Liebman on here on sax and George Mraz on bass. And Prince Igor plays electric Rhodes all over this thing, up and down. It is, if you like Rhodes, this is definitely one to seek out. So yeah, happy to find that after hearing some good things about it. Stone Alliance on PM as well. They have that self-titled LP on PM, which is really sought after, which Tom, you recently sold a copy of, that I still don't have, but this one is a fraction of the price, and really, really good. So Gene Perla, Steve Grossman, Don Elias, and then you also have this is Stone Alliance with Marcio Montarroyos, which is Hermeto Pascual, who I've heard of, and a bunch of other Brazilian sounding musicians that I don't know at all. But this is definitely one to seek out. Deep record, fun, funky, some Latin flavor. Another one, the Latin flavor, heavy record. This is the second pressing on Muse, I think originally released on Cobblestone with a different cover. This is Total Submission by Emmanuel K. Ram and Kalios. Beautiful cover, beautiful lady. And I guess this is a promo copy. Interesting that they're putting promo copies out of reissues. Not that I really know if that's a thing or not, but and then you have Virgil Jones on here, who I've heard of, Hugh Brody, who I've heard of, Alex Blake on bass, and no one else that I've heard of. But yeah, I know a bunch of people like this one. I did pick up a couple reissues. Oh, there's more Coltrane. This was at another little record fair actually here. This is another 70s Atlantic pressing, probably on the same time, although this one's still in the shrink. Looks like it has a glossy cover, the other one didn't. Coltrane Jazz, didn't have this, had never heard it. Once again, not my favorite Coltrane, but still adding to the Coltrane collection, some good music. I'll show you the reissues I picked up all at the same time. Creative Arts Ensemble, One Step Out, originally on Nimbus. Amazing 45 RPM, reissued by Outer National Sounds. I've been looking forward to this one coming out and wanting this one as well, which had come out also on Outer National Sounds for a while, but hadn't been able to track them down locally or even on this side of the Atlantic. And they are both absolutely worth it on the higher price side of reissues, but really well done and amazing music. This is, you know, my type of jam, the Nimbus spiritual jazz vibe. This one was recorded in, I think, the mid 80s. So it's Jesse Sharp's and the Pan African People's Orchestra. But it wasn't released until early 2000s, I believe, on CD. And then now just reissued on vinyl for the first time. Nate Morgan, Adele Sebastian, so yeah, Horace Tapscott obviously, and a bunch of other musicians, and this one is just as deep. So if you're into that spiritual jazz vibe, which you guys know I love, definitely those are worth seeking out. And another kind of grail that I don't expect to ever own an original that I grabbed the reissue, recently released, Joe McPhee Nation Time, which is a heavy record. But what surprised me with this one is the like funkiness to it as well, not just all out free. And this one's by Superior Viaduct. Heavy stuff. Check that out if you don't know. Joe McPhee Nation Time. This is a dirt cheap record that I picked up that was absolute fire. Cal Jader putting it together. Honestly, if you find this, it's only going to cost you a few dollars, and I just played this over and over again. Absolute jam session, just super groovy. Cal Jader, one of those Blue Note unreleased sessions. This one is one of the ones, many of them are worth seeking out, but too bad the cover art sucks. But Wayne Shorter, Herbie Hancock, Cecil McBee, and Joe Chambers. The lineup interested me on this one, knowing that I love Cecil McBee as well as everyone else on here, but this one's definitely worth picking up, etc. This one had been in my local store for probably a year or two, and I decided to finally pick it up. Time for a change. Lynette Sudler Quartet. I'd seen it. I think I'd seen Tom post it, or you were selling a copy, and Chris Cole, I know you like this record, I think, is what Tom told me. And when I had needle dropped it a few times, I wasn't so sure, but I gave it I think a third chance, and it definitely resonated with me this time around. And now that I've gotten it home and listened to it, it is a guitar-centered record. She's a guitarist. but there's some beautiful stuff on here. There's also some cool little drum breaks. So yeah. I think what sparked me to check it out was the release of the Sounds of Liberation unreleased LP by Max from Brarytown Beats, and she's on part of that, and that kind of sparked my interest. I was like, maybe I should go check that out again. Elvin Jones at the Lighthouse. This is not in amazing shape, but it's more than listenable, very enjoyable, and I think it was $3. So his double LP on Blue Note with I know who's the other. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so Dave Liebman's on here, Steve Grossman's on here, Gene Perla, and Elvin Jones. So a really interesting lineup for this live session. You can see the cover's been written on, but I don't really care. And they do Fancy Free. I don't know any of the other songs on here, but yeah, definitely worth the price of admission. Someone posted a Pat LaBarbera record. I don't think this is the one that was posted, but it kind of sparked my interest. Canadian musician, didn't know him at all, so I was curious, and I came across this one. It was a bit more than I would have wanted it to be. Well, not that it was expensive, but not something I see often, so I grabbed it. Some records you pay a little bit more than you want to, and I pay a lot less than I think is fair. So this is really good and a quite interesting cover. But this is from 1981 on CBC, on Société Radio-Canada, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Don't know who else plays on here. Anyway, definitely worth checking out. Picked up a copy of this. There was a copy of this locally for a while online on one of their Discogs pages, but it was more than I wanted to pay, and then came across this copy for less than half. And I love the cover on this. I'm trying to not buy as much free jazz, because it's definitely not always what I gravitate towards in terms of listening. I do enjoy a lot of it when it's just like super heavy. So, but this is not that. There is some kind of thoughtfulness. Not that the other music, but it resonates more with me. But I'm definitely gonna give it a few more spins and see if it's something that I'm gonna keep around. I've actually been spending a lot of time listening to records from my shelves that I'm not sure I want to keep, which is weird because I'm going towards the ones that I don't normally go towards, to see if I can kind of thin out the shelves. And some of them right away I'm like, yeah, I don't need this, and others I'm finding records, discovering records where I'm like, oh damn, I have not listened to this and it's really interesting and good. A few more that I found recently. Horace Tapscott, this was just yesterday in New York on Interplay. This is my second Tapscott on Interplay. The other one's a solo piano. This one has Art Davis and Roy Haynes on drums. So yeah, from what I listened to one side of this last night while cooking, and very nice. And then I also grabbed, this was I'll haul that with the Archie Shep, with the Marion Brown I showed. This unbelievable record. I have the CD, love it. Wayne Shorter, Night Dreamer. Crazy lineup with Lee Morgan, McCoy Tyner, Reggie Workman, and Elvin Jones. Kind of got the Coltrane Coltrane band with Lee Morgan and Wayne Shorter. Something. Anyway, this is a classic. This is the second pressing on Liberty, stereo pressing. So yeah, never seen one. Super happy to find this. Probably wouldn't shell out the money for an original. So very happy medium is this Liberty pressing that I found locally. And then what we've been listening to this whole time, in case you were wondering and didn't know, is Cecil McBee Alternate Spaces. just as the record is ending. Beautiful. So I actually already had this, but it's an incredible record. Beautiful, beautiful music with Don Pullen, Chico Freeman, Joe Gardner, Alan Nelson, and Famoudou Don Moy, not sure how you say that. So yeah, now have 2 copies of this. So yeah, can trade one at some point, but I think this was a slight upgrade on the copy that I had. But yeah, I love this cover, and I love everything about this record. Oh, I didn't show this one soul record to finish. Tighten Up, Archie Bell and the Drells. Buttery had shown this, and I had another Archie Bell record, which I really enjoyed. And he was, you know, I think you're a graphic designer, maybe, James, and you were talking about the typography, how you liked it. This is quite a funky cover, interesting. But yeah, this album is really dope, actually. Not that I didn't think it would be, but better than my expectations. The other one I really enjoyed, but this is definitely a notch above the other one. I can't remember the name, something with dancing. But yeah, not this wasn't a $5 record. It wasn't super expensive, but it is in like absolutely stunning shape for a record from the late 60s. So yeah, happy to find this. And oh, there's a few other soul records here that I found. Some early James Brown. This one's called Think. This is, I think the original cover was slightly different. This is a original Canadian pressing, I believe. So yeah, cool James Brown. I don't have any James Brown that's from, I think that's from like 1960 or 59 or even. And then I picked up a couple Bobby Thurston records at 2 different spots. Not my typical, but definitely enjoyable. Kind of like boogie sounding funk. This one is You Got What It Takes, and then this one is The Main Attraction. I know his sought after record is the one before this, the first one, sorry, Sweetest Piece of the Pie, I believe. Not sure, 100% sure on the title, but definitely enjoyed spinning these. And that's it. Hope everyone's doing well. Hopefully be able to make a few more videos now that it stays light later. Not getting dark at 4 in the afternoon makes it a lot easier. So yeah, be back soon. Peace.